between you and Durka, man, that was pretty ridiculous what No-Tail was able to bring. I mean, that's just
No-Tail,
almost
man.
Unprecedented.
Radiant team
No-Tail.
pick.
That's right. It's Fire Dota versus High Councils of Wizards and Priests was the MLG matchup. So again, if you want to watch that, mlg.tv/joinDota. We have a Visage for Monkey Freedom Fighters. Dazzle going to be picked up by 4ASC now, one of the higher value supports, but it's the Visage that really interested me. Visage has been picked up by a couple of specific teams and is kind of it seems to be pretty highly valued. I feel like the Visage is Clairvoyance has said this to me. Blitz has said this to me as well. I feel like the hero's really, really strong right now, but he just wasn't picked up in the pre-TI meta at all. And I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. It just kind of comes down to the trends and what people feel is most optimal at the time. Visage has always been a great pick. He used to be OP, then they fixed the familiars there, but now he's just been a really solid pick. But people have been looking towards the other drafts and looking for something that isn't just good, it's like amazing and unstoppable. And Visage is never really unstoppable. He is a really good contribution to the team lineup, especially when he can get some extra farm. But in the right hands, this hero can still do amazing work. I'm a really big fan of running it myself, and yeah, I think the fact that they already have the Gyrocopter and the Shadow Shaman makes their tri-lane environment extremely powerful. Now, I'm not sure if that's enough to prompt them to actually go for like an aggressive tri-lane, putting Clockwork safe lane versus the 4 Anchors duo, perhaps. Right now, it looks like Earthshaker Dazzle support, and then Spearbreaker can be off-lane core, and what I've seen 4 Anchors been drafting up for the most part is actually like a off-laning support to get the Spearbreaker off his feet, like in an interesting way. Like the Tusk is out of the pool from phase 1, but they have a couple of options as far as what to pair in that aggressive stance.
Right.
10 seconds remaining.
Dragonite banned away, and a Clinks is the response by Monkey Freedom Fighters. So I could see a Clinks kind of working here for 4ASC. Clinks is actually one of those heroes I was thinking about earlier today, where, again, he seems kind of team-specific. Some teams really like him as a carry. For example, Complexity used to run Clinks quite a bit. Ziz, probably one of his better heroes. For me, alongside Ember Spirit and Naga Siren. A lot of physical damage, a lot of pushing power, and again, one of those heroes that it takes advantage of the Desolator being such cheap damage, which is a primary reason why we see Templar Assassin come back into the meta so heavily.
Yeah, now going into the last pick here, 1 minute on the clock for 4 Anchors. I think that they're still trying to force this duo, but I'm not so confident in their late game. I kind of feel like they need to go for like a safe lane pickup that can kind of single target out the Gyrocopter while still withstanding what's kind of being pressured from the supports. So you've got a lot of magical nukes and damage output. You don't get AM, you don't get kill, you don't get clicks. Like, these are all the classic one position heroes, and 4 Anchors, I'm really not sure what they can feel confident in the safe lane. Maybe they can go with a Slark and throw back to some of their older drafting style, but even that will have some difficulty getting off the ground in terms of farm.
4ASC taking a lot of time to think about their last carry. Slark it is. 4ASC, it's kind of a favorite of theirs, but I combine Slark in my head with 4ASC back in their older lineup. But
yeah, I mean, it's a very Matoma Man hero, so...
What's that?
It's a very Matoma Man hero. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
like
exactly.
that's what they drafted for, is just the amount of presence that he could bring with this hero. Because Matoma Man, unlike most Slarks at the time when this hero got really popular, Matoma Man brought a level of aggression that no other Slark was bringing. Most people farmed it for the late game, said, hey, I'm a 60-minute Slark, I have amazing scalability. But Matoma Man just started really upping the tempo of what you could do with the hero and finding gank opportunities with it. And I think 4 Anchors, obviously, since Matoma Man knows how to play really well, but it remains to be seen if Boogie can fill Matoma Man's shoes in that regard.
Oh, okay. I did not expect that last pick. I was like, what mids are left? Like Templar Assassin's gone, Queen of Pain's gone, etc., etc., etc. Puck, a Rise Puck. It actually works really well, I think, with the Shadow Shaman. Visage, and the Gyrocopter, because they all have some sort of like stand and fight ability. You have wards from the Shadow Shaman, you have the familiars coming out from the Visage, and then the Gyrocopter has that cooldown. So across the board, I'm looking at it and going, there's a lot of these abilities that the coil will set up in one way or another. So I kind of like the pickup, but at the same time, there's a reason this hero hasn't been picked up extensively.
So we're going to see an interesting matchup here. I mean, Storm versus Puck, 1v1, no tally starts. It's really hard to call either side being in a conclusive victor in this. I mean, obviously we know that the Storm Spirit's going to be looking to farm in his jungle and stuff like that, and I think the Earthshaker can really mess with the Puck if he ever orbs offensively. But Arise is kind of renowned for being able to really make big plays happen, especially when he gets the blink online.
Yeah. Wait, what? Yes?
30 seconds to battle.
Looks like we're Luxembourg, which seems to make sense for the matchup.
Yeah, that shouldn't be bad for Mad. So maybe you just got a poor connection to the server right now or something. We are going to see MFF. They are looking to try and challenge this bottom lane a little bit, though. If it's the full 4-man, I doubt they'll go for it. They do have a decent level 1, but it's not strong enough to contest, especially with a numbers advantage.
Begins.
So Rise will just cop a little bit of damage. Not a great start if he's already going to burn through one of those shared tangos, but we'll see. He should do all right versus a Storm Spirit, especially with the phase shift. You can usually do a okay job at being able to dodge some of the Storm Spirit's harassment. So if he can just pick up his bottle with just using that one shared tango, he'll be all right.
So we're going to be seeing some lane blocking coming in from Sing Sing on the bottom lane, the Clockwork there. Boots first Clockwork with on the Dire side. This guy's going to be able to really just control the creep wave and pretty much never put himself in harm's way unless he's getting a little greedy. On the other hand, the Earthshaker isn't blocking for the 4AC offlaner, so the Spirit Breaker might have some trouble if there's good creep control. There's no block on the pull on the Dire side, and there's no control of the creep equilibrium for 4AC. I really feel like Trixie is going to have trouble getting past level 2.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. They used it to be able to like ensure that they did get that bottom rune and there wouldn't be a contest like Earthshaker was sitting down there, but just looking at the situation that the Spirit Breaker is in, it feels like it would have been much better to have Volix up there, making sure that level 2 was easy for a Trixie to pick up, and then all of a sudden you have that roaming potential into the middle lane. You know, who knows what can happen from there. Even just challenging the supports is a lot easier when you have the charge and the bash. Middle lane, Arise. Part of the problem is that the against the Storm Spirit is that you can't dodge his right click overload, because if it misses, Nymphy will just do another attack, and it still keeps an overload proc if you miss. So this is going to be a bit of the problem with Arise, but he's already beginning to chew through his extra consumables that he brought via the bounty rune.
Yeah, but if he plays it smart, this means he's still going to be able to dodge out the key things, which is the Fissure charge combo. If the Spirit Breaker and the Earthshaker both try to help the Storm Spirit go for the kill, then it's going to be a Rise that can get out of that pretty well, as long as he has the orb. In this case, they're still trading back and forth, and Nephi will get the better trades, but he's not going to die unless he makes a mistake.
Valix actually missing the Fissure. That would have been a good opportunity to bring the puck pretty low, but unfortunately misses out. If they'd hit that Fissure, Arise might have been low enough that Nymphy could have just bullied him out of lane, but that's not the case. And it looks like Arise, unless he misses some CS here, should be able to get his bottle before he's pushed out entirely.
I'm just looking at the polling situation, and it's completely different between the two sides. The Visage here is already halfway through level 2. Fucking Mad is zoning out really nicely on the Shadow Shaman. Trixie is going to be sitting at level 2 for a while, and in fact they might be able to go for a gank. The Shockwave comes in from the Satyr, and there seems to be some miscommunication or lag for Mad. But either way, it's going to be the Spirit Breaker under much more fire, and the Dazzle the Earthshaker, they're not doing as much.
Yeah, it seemed like both the Frenchmen didn't really want to go for that kill on Trixie, but if he keeps coming forward like that, they will see an opportunity to get some Rocket Barrage damage. Highly unlikely they'll ever kill Trixie, especially with Valix sitting on the side here. He's if Mad comes forward aggressively, Trixie may just be able to get a lot of right-click damage onto Mad. As you can see, they're going to go for him now. The creep wave is coming in. They're trying to dodge a lot of this damage. And they will be able to get Trixie out. He's way lower than I expected. Jesus, 13 HP. I was like, he's fine. The blast isn't going to do that much, but it almost does finish off Trixie for the first blood.
Yeah, even level 1 Soul Assumption has insane potential damage output there, so you always got to keep an eye on that. Another thing is it's not disjointable, so even if the Slark pounces or Shadow Dances, he's still going to get hit by it. You cannot underestimate the spell in this game in particular. We're actually going to see a pretty active exchange for this 4-minute rune top.
Oh yeah, they're going to go for a rise here with a charge in. They're going to be able to pick up that Invis rune as well. Trixie will get out, and Netflix trying to right-click down. Oh, that Fisher comes in, and now Mad's going to go down as well. Challenging over the rune turns bad for Monkey Freedom Fighters as 4ASC pick up the first blood and a second kill.
And they don't even deny the Storm the Rune. The Storm Strike can still rotate to the bottom boundary rune if he wants it, and the Spear Breaker picking up the Invis rune doesn't really change the situation at all. So really great setup for double kill momentum for the Storm Spirit, and that's before he gets level 6. Now he really comes online.
Yeah, Volix is actually given the bottle by Nemphy. He's going to pick up the Bounty Rune and then hand off the full bottle to the Storm Spirit. So as you said, they'll have that extra bit of regen for Nemphy. No cost on that Invis being taken away from him. Shadow Shaman can rotate to the bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm curious about the contribution of Shadow Shaman bottom, because you're up against a Slark. If you time the Dark Pact well, you really shouldn't have to worry too much about the Shadow Shaman, but I guess there might be some situations where it gets caught off guard, caught out by some disables.
Fisher comes out. Arise will take a bit of extra damage because of that. The Shadow Shaman is here, but Puck is in level 6, so they really don't have the control. They don't have the jump. You kind of need that mini stun from the coil to ensure that the Shadow Shaman can get in range, especially since he's operating on no boots. So it's 2-0 right now, and 4ASC are looking to win almost every single lane. Obviously, that bottom lane is going well for the for Sing Sing. He's getting a lot of experience. He's going the maxed out rocket build, which we see from Moon Meander all the time. So a lot more farming capabilities, especially against the Slark, who's so dangerous in lane. Before you have a TP, obviously he has a TP now, but before that point, it's just so much kill power that you got to play a little bit more passive. A regen is going to be picked up by Sing Sing, choosing not to hand that one over to Nemphy. Nemphy's probably a little bit sad about that fact, but he'll bottle crow his way to victory.
And I've seen you even go for the Rocket Flare quite a few times when you run the offlane Clockwork. I mean, there's a lot you can do with it. You can contribute to the push that's going to be ensuing up top pretty soon for their team. You can obviously farm up creeps, disrupt pulls. Like, there's a lot of value in getting this extra damage for the same mana.
Yeah, I think it's a really good, easy way to farm on the Clockwork. Maxed out Rocket Flare, you like 2-shot range creeps, and you should be able to take easily like 2. I would say, on average, you're thinking about 4 CS for every 2 rockets. Trixie is gonna charge away here. The nuke isn't quite enough, and he will be able to get out. But I think going back to it, while Moon Meander always goes for the max rocket build, I think Sing Sing's probably looking at this and going, it's a little bit more about the heroes that he's facing. Every single one of the cores is able to get away from the cogs in some fashion, right? So if the Slark has Pounce Out or he has his ultimate, like Battery Assault just is simply not a very effective ability against the Slark or the Storm Spirit. You would much prefer the extra burst damage of the Rocket Flare.
Absolutely, and I mean, even the chance of him getting bashed out of his cogs really hurts. We're going to see actually a really good amount of distance set by Arise here. He has an Observer Ward on the high ground, sees the Earthshaker, and literally just sits just outside the range of that Fisher. So probably pretty annoying for Volix here, who has now missed a second Fisher because of range alone, and that's just going to make it harder for him to contribute. He does get his Arcane Boots, so obviously the mana sustain is going to be there, as opposed to like the Visage, who's running on 1 spell until he heads back to the Fountain. But I have a question for you. Why aren't we seeing much pushing coming in from Monkey's Freedom Fighter? They've forced the Spirit Breaker away from the lane twice now, and at no point have we seen Toskova just turn on his Ring of Aquila and start hitting on the tier 1.
It might be because they are looking at this and going, They're going to rotate the Spirit Breaker or the Earthshaker over, and Earthshaker especially is not a bad hero defending those offlane towers. So maybe that's the thought process, but the pressure would be nice. Yapster is just going to get bursted down here as Nemfi finds him cutting across into the jungle. But I mean, especially in situations like that, you see 4ASC 3 middle. I think the time is to put pressure on that top lane, even if the rotation does occur from the Spirit Breaker. At least it keeps the heroes away from middle lane, where Arise can perhaps do a bit more.
Under attack.
Yeah, I just feel like this top lane's been pretty lax, and it's like 4AC, they're like, yeah, we can defend it, we can get some free experience there, but there's really no emphasis on MFF to really bring this thing down or to force heroes to stick around here. Sure, you're afraid of the Storm Spirit rotation at an impromptu time, but I definitely think that there's some value in actually kind of deciding where 4AC is and kind of prompting that.
He's going to clear through.
Like this.
Come over here!
Yeah.
Like, he's been out of mana and life 3 different times in the jungle, and there's been no way to punish it because they're not putting pressure on the tower.
Let's see, taking a look at the net worth, because of all that stack farming, Storm Spirit is actually top of the net worth board, 4,500. And Slark is not too far behind either, so the difference between the Puck and the Storm Spirit is massive. And our Slark is going, Boogie's going the maxed out Dark Pack build, which allows him to farm up the jungle as well. We've seen this from a lot of Slarks lately. Not going for the Midas as often, but the maxed out Dark Pack in order to ensure that they still have plenty of farming capability.
Yeah. So I'm curious actually how the Puck is going to have to build this. Does he just avoid the power treads, go blink? Oh, nice little combo here onto Boogie, but he's got so many spells to get out. And I'm sure the Spirit Breaker will cancel his charge too. But meanwhile up top, this could be a pretty easy support kill. Almost as easy as the first one we saw. But with the Gyrocopter here, with his ultimate, they're going to have to dodge out afterwards.
Yeah, this is awkward. They're actually, oh man, the control is there. They do manage to get the turnaround kill. The charge completes from Trixie, but he doesn't want to be here. He's going to be bursted down as well, and that's going to be a second kill going the way of Monkey Freedom Fighters. Gyrocopter picks that one up. But yeah, the Storm Spirit just after the fact getting the kill on the Visage makes it a really bad trade. He doesn't get the experience, and then on top of that, he's obviously traded himself for a support hero.
And now that they've rotated Sing Sing, they want to get more out of it. They're going to start putting damage into the tower while Mad just kind of continues to stack and get his mana back up. But yeah, in this position, just that first big rotation, winning their exchange, just in every way but one. The Slark does get a little bit more space, and actually now they're going to be able to make a full jump onto Sashka.
Oh man, that pushback from the Cogs, it was the right place, but unfortunately pushed back the Spirit Breaker rather than Nemfi, and Nemfi is actually going to try and run down Sing Sing here. He's going to hookshot himself away though, knows a charge is coming out. He's got battery assault, he's got Cogs, he knows he's just going to have to use it here and try and get out of the Cogs himself. Nemfi doesn't actually have the range to be able to get the right click on Beaver Knight to ensure the kill, and now for AC, they might be overextended. No TPs onto the tier 1 towers. Arise is going to catch up though. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his ultimate. Echo Slaying gets laid out, but Mad stays one step ahead of it. Silence onto Balance. And Yaptor is now going to slow him down. Balance, it looks like he's just going to be given away. Good child grave save. Gyrocopter is going to catch up though. The call down. Oh, okay. See, turns around trying to save the Earthshaker, but that just results in another kill. Meanwhile, Trixie actually comes in from the side to go on Mad, but now he's going to be stunned up by the familiars and taken out. 4AC just go way too deep.
Absolutely, they just stuck around way too long. Like, if they had just abandoned ship 5 seconds beforehand, it would have been fine, and they would have actually been ahead in this game with how much the Slark was able to get. The Slark got the tier 1 tower and is almost at 100 last hits. Boogie's doing really well, just kind of having his lane to himself. But because they ended up overstaying their welcome up top and feeding those kills away, I would say that it's still an even exchange in the end. And those levels are going to be meaning a lot for the Shadow Shaman and the Visage. We already see the familiars in play, and when you have both the birds and the snakes in play, you can break towers down so quickly and start taking control of the map.
Yeah, the whole zoo is going to come out and play soon for Monkey Freedom Fighters. Pretty apt considering their name. They're going to have a charge here on Beaver Knight. They're going to go for this kill with Boogie. If they can get the charge and the pounce, it should be good, but Sing Sing sitting so far back. It would be too risky to go for that dive past a tier 2 tower, so instead they're just going to try and take out the tower, but can't even do that much. They'll have to rotate back out.
Is under attack.
Yeah, and what a big swing. You said that 4AC diving in like that pretty much gave back all the golden experience that they earned. That's exactly the way the net worth and the experience chart read. In fact, Monkey Freedom Fighters getting a little bit extra experience, probably because 4AC bumped up their levels a little bit, getting those kills, and then promptly fed those kills back into Monkey Freedom Fighters, making even more value and experience.
Yeah, and I think that it's really important to look at the net worth values of the Storm and the Puck as we approach this next stage of the game. Nemphy was dominating this Puck in terms of net worth values. He was going to be able to get the Orchid out way before the Puck could get anything to respond with, but at least for right now, we do see that Arise has picked up his Blink Dagger, and next he's going to be looking for that Yule Scepter. If he can Yules through the Orchid, he's just going to be able to get out of pretty much any rough situation.
Valix does have the fishery. He's just farming up the middle lane. He's halfway to his Blink Dagger right now. Jump over. Oh, silent healing onto Nemphy. Big turnaround here. Valix going to try and come forward, but the Echo Flame hits it off 3. Great setup, and now Nemphy's actually going to be saved here. Gets out of the coil thanks to a Shell Frame TP out, and Valix, I mean, well played, soldier. He dies, but he got a counter kill and saved the Storm Sphere in the process. Trixie, though, is not going to be saved. Paris is going to be able to pick up that kill, so.
In the meantime, though, Bogey does take the tier 2 tower. Just Ring of Aquila, Drum of Endurance, a very active pushing build. He wants to just get a lot of farm in the jungle and a lot of farm on the lane, and he's doing just that now at the top of the net worth, despite being involved in 0 kills. 0-0-0 Slark here. Not the aggressive Slark we thought was a possibility in the draft, but now he's got an item that might facilitate that a little better. Going for the early Blink Dagger, he's got durability with his current stat build, he's got mobility with the drums and the blink, and he just has to kind of find his opening. So maybe a little bit more patience from him, a few more minutes, and he's going to start to actually get very active this game, and probably for good reason. I mean, they have great tools to initiate. They just need to, now that they have the Orchid on Nemphy, they just need to find the Blink Dagger and Earthshaker, and they can jump anybody across the map.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
All right, Nemphy looking for that first big kill. Now that he has the Orchid, is going to be searching for Rise in the middle lane. He's shown himself with the Orb. The rest of the smoke is going to head on to bottom lane. The charge is coming out, but interrupted by the coil, but now Rise immediately going to get turned around on. Oh, but he managed to jump over, still though gets ulted up, and the Orchid plus the pop is not quite enough. A little bit of dodge there, face shit, but he runs into a remnant in the process. Still though, the Storm Sphere goes down at the same time, and they got the Shadow Shuttle at that bottom lane. That was where the smoke headed in.
Invisibility.
Exactly, and the Clockwork just goes ahead, Blade Mail TPs away, and he's able to get out, so it's only a 1 kill action down there, but then you have to look at the 1-for-1 in mid, which at first looks bad, but that's their unveiling of some big items. The Blink Dagger on the Slark, the Orchid on the Storm. Now Monkey's Freedom Fighters know exactly what they're dealing with for this next set of fights, and Paris is almost to his BKB, which is probably as impactful as both those items put together.
Monkey Freedom Fighters are on the hunt now on middle lane. If they can catch Valix, this would be perfect timing, considering his Blink Dagger is almost up. And it seems almost all but assured, but Valix actually backs up at just the perfect time.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
If he moves forward, even just like halfway between the tier 1 and tier 2, they easily dive him, but he's not going for it. Smart man actually heads up to the top lane, despite how close he is to Blink Dagger. It would be, you know, so tempting to just throw out one Fissure, you know, and try and get a little bit more CS, but he doesn't reveal, won't give up that gold, and 4AC will continue to push out the top lane while giving up the mid. And he'll actually sell for the Blink Dagger.
Has some really amazing observer wards right now. Just spreading the map right now with 3 critical choke points towards the jungle, towards the mid lane, and obviously right over to the Roche pit.
Dire's top tower is
wards are going to be up for a little while, and they've already given some amazing intel for Anchors to make the right movement across the map.
Yeah. Let's see. 9k on both the Slark and the Storm Spirit. They do have a lot of farm on the Visage, which is kind of the silver lining for Monkey Freedom Fighters, but then again, Earthshaker has his primary item, so who really cares? The Visage is going to take a bit more time to really come online with that amount of net worth that he has. trying to build into
yeah,
the Solar
it looks like he's
Crest
actually
now.
just going straight Solar Crest. Yeah. If you want the point booster, you'd have it by now. I kind of prefer it just because that extra little boost of HP is really nice before you go for the full Solar Crest. But here he just wants the full value against the Slark. Put the Solar Crest out with the miss chance and make sure that there's no way that he can focus down your course.
Yeah, it seems like all the Visages are doing that nowadays. Long jump, but Mad has already backed himself away. But yeah, Solar Crest, I haven't seen an Aghanim's first, not even Aghanim's after medallion in years. Well, not in years, obviously.
I would say that the two builds right now are either the medallion, then point boosted, then Solar Crest, or just straight Solar Crest. And yeah. I personally like the better HP and mana pool for the cost of slot efficiency, but the Solar Crest has its place when you're up against a really right-click dependent core like Slark.
All right, slight pause time. Sorry, guys.
You're not really familiar with the pause situation, are you? So here's disconnect, and when they have some small issues, you do have to wait a little while. I know you haven't really run into that much, especially not today.
No.
Yeah.
Never. I never have a whole entire sit-down story. I mean, last time I casted the defense with Blitz, we had I swear to God, we filled up 40 minutes of downtime just bullshitting in the studio, the two of us. Oh man.
It's one hero and then a different one. What's that about? Now both teams are having some problems. Very interesting.
All right, I am paying attention to chat. If you guys just let me know what you need, because the sound of my ears, unfortunately, is not the same as what goes out on stream. So, if just continue to let me know where I need to slightly change up the sounds, and everything will be golden. By the way, guys, if you guys want to watch MLG that's happening right now, Durka is casting it with Clairvoyance. That is Fire versus the High Council of Wizards and Priests. That's the quarterfinals of the MLG American Qualifier for the World Finals. The winner of that will go on to face Digital Chaos, who will then go on to face Cloud9? I think Cloud9 is in the finals. I should know because I casted the semifinal, but all these games are just blurring together. We're running like 5 tournaments right now. It's something absurd. We've got defense, WCA, ESL, D2CL. So that's 4 by itself. Is there anything else? I don't think so. But still, 4 tournaments all the time. We're literally using all 3 studios every single day. It's crazy. It's crazy. And we have an outside caster, a contract caster, doing D2CL for right now, just because they're like, oh no, we're only gonna have 1 or 2 games early on, and then we'll start building up a little bit later on, and then they probably dump 5 games on us, and we're just like, nope, we can't cover that.
It's tough, man, but the compression from the majors, everybody has the kind of this prime time right now where all the teams are actually stable and formed, but not stuck in worrying about qualifiers and stuff like that. This is really Dota prime time between those events.
Yeah, in fact, it's not too long till we actually have LAN events start happening. ESL 1 New York. It's coming up soon, and then it's another 2 weekends after that, and then you get MLG World Finals, and next thing you know, you've got the I don't even know when the defense finals is going to be, to be honest.
Players here!
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Has his first ultimate orb working towards the Scotty, I would presume. Bottom lane's going to be pushed down with the Serpent Wards being committed. 4AC not going to worry about it. Instead, just going for the split
Dire's
pushing. We'll
middle
take the middle
tower
lane
is under
tower
attack.
and get some damage on the top lane tower at the same time.
Radiant's bottom
Deny.
tower has
Oh,
fallen.
they got it.
Dire's middle tower has been
Damn.
denied.
And this move here from Monkey Freedom Fighters shows a lack of confidence in their ability to keep control over the Roche pit. With the Blink Echo Slam, with the Storm Aegis Snap potential, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in Roshan. But normally, if you're saving your Master Serpent Wards for as long as you have been, actually 7 Mad's gonna go down just to Trixie in the bottom lane. Boogie come in and just nab that last hit. But yeah, if you have your Serpent Wards for this long, this is actually I think the first set of Mass Serpent Wards we've seen, or Mass Bird Wards as they may be. We're 20 minutes into the game and he's dropped them on the tier 1 bottom. That's because they don't feel confident enough to drop them in the Roche pit.
Yeah. And as it is, I can understand why 4AC are actually leading a decent chunk of golden experience right now. Especially with the Slark being so overly farmed as he is in the Storm Spirit. With that, Orchid is now working towards a Bloodstone.
Actually impressed how well Nemphy has been involved and has been active farming without a Soul Ring in his inventory. Kind of look at the Soul Ring as a staple for the Storm Spirit, especially you can tread swap with it to get a lot of mana sustain, but he's been able to do well enough with his allies nearby, with a pair of Arcane Boots beside him, that he's actually been able to go this entire game to this point without a Soul Ring, which is quite impressive.
Eul's Scepter is coming out soon on our puck to help deal with that Orchid, as that's just a bit too threatening for the puck. We're going to have a 4-man smoke now. This is probably them going into Roshan. They have the wards up right now. Is this going to be scouted, though?
Radiant's top tower has
Storm
been
Spirit
denied.
isn't anywhere nearby. So many heroes are in the top lane.
Yeah.
It looks like distance alone makes. Oh, they actually have the Solar Crest complete for Yapstor. So, yeah, Roshan's definitely dead.
Yeah, it's just the distance factor there. They have no rotation power right now. They're going to try to go for the smoke. They have Blink, they have Ball, but it's just going to be a little bit too late. They might be able to get them coming out of the pit, away from the wards, but they will not stop
Roshan has fallen to the Dire.
So Aegis now for the Gyrocopter, Eul's on the puck, and Monkey Freedom Fighters, I think for the first time all game, actually feel confident really pushing out against 4AAC and forcing fights.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of potential now. The Slark is starting to become a worry, though. They've finally become confident against 4ASC as a whole, but now one hero in particular is going to be a very scary thing to deal with, and that's going to be Boogie's Slark. I mean, point booster away from that Scotty, and he can just jump on the Gyrocopter for pretty much the whole team fight. Unless they get find a way to make the Shackles connect from Mad, I don't know if they can actually handle Boogie.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Boogie rotating around in the enemy jungle, not finding anything. Meanwhile, Mad playing very aggressive, all on his lonesome, is setting up some wards in the enemy jungle. Nemphy, fortunately for Mad, is not going to be able to spot Mad until Mad shows himself to get a little bit greedy, zap the creep, and will now die to Nemphy.
You had your
Helping
warning.
Nemphy actually almost finished up that Bloodstone. He's just a recipe away at this point.
So, I want to talk to you about the draft and the late game. Now that we're kind of approaching past this early stage of the game, we're going to be looking at what teams can accomplish over the next 20 to 30 minutes. Looking at that
Dire's
last pick,
middle
Slark,
tower is under attack.
there are some ways for them to deal with it, dream coiling it, nuking him down. But now that he's actually starting to get tanky, I feel like he's always going to get his Shadow Dance off in the fights. And from there, how do you actually manage a Slark that's that big?
Boom! There it goes!
I think you need, like, Dark Pact doesn't remove the coil. It does remove, obviously, like, most Slarks will look to be able to Dark Pact as they leave the coil. So it doesn't do, like, hardly any stun at all. But I think you just try and maybe force the puck's disables on him as much as possible. Like, even going so far as, like, Eul Sceptering him in the beginning of the fight if you're perhaps getting the initiation and you don't have to worry about the Orchid as much. Even going so far as that, because I think you're right. I don't think there's an opportunity for them to be able to burst him down, especially if he's with his team. So if he always gets off that Shadow Dance, he's always able to start racking up the stat steal on heroes like the Gyrocopter, easily
Radiant's
cleaning through
top
these
tower
supports.
is under attack.
So And especially with the way that 4AC are just avoiding
Radiant
fights right now,
structures
they're
are
not actually taking it to Monkey Freedom Fighters, which means the next time we do see Slark fully engage with MFF, he may be even tankier. Maybe he even has like Talisman of Evasion, or goes for the BKB, or actually has, I suppose, a Basher, which gives
Dire's
you a
middle tower
slight
is
bit
under
of
attack.
strength. But even just levels, you know, Boogie is going to get stronger and stronger as time goes on.
Yeah, we're actually going to see Trixie get very close to Mad here, but I'm not sure if they'll actually pursue on into the Shadow Shaman now. He's just going to get the TP away. So one thing I want to talk about is potential defense vibe.
Whoa,
one
what
thing
I
you can do
miss?
to Slark here. Oh, pretty long jump. He sees, they charge. They could go for this for the region.
Yeah, Yapstor actually already blew away his Solar Crest, so his first couple of hits doing a full amount of damage. Trixie joins them, and this is just in time for Nemphy to get that additional Bloodstone charge. And we'll be able to go back to full HP and full mana too, thanks to the regen.
I think one thing to look into, oh, we might see a hook shot here on the Slark. There's going to be the Blink Silence. Can they follow it up with enough Disable, though?
This is the true test. They're going to throw everything when he gets off the Shadow Dance, and now things turn so badly. The Echo Slam from Valak sets the whole entire fight up, and Paris comes back with his BKB, but it's just too late. He's going to be kited around and slowly eaten alive by the Slark. Stat, 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 and stat. 15-8 now. Wiping Monkey Freedom Fighters after the pickoff on the Visage. I cannot believe Monkey Freedom Fighters turned on Boogie, but that was pretty much their only opportunity to kill that Slark, and they came close. They came damn close, but he still got off the Shadow Dance.
Yeah, and I actually don't even think there was a Shallow Grave in that fight, so it just shows that the Scotty is really all they needed to feel confident in that. They go right up against a BKB Aegis Gyrocopter and say, you don't have the means to control our hero. We'll get the powers at B to bring him down, and now, yeah, this Slark is an auto win once you get that Scotty in this context.
Yep, so Monkey Freedom Fighters call it. Game number 1 goes to 4AAC. So, well done. 4AAC, I actually did not have a whole lot of confidence into them. Just seeing them in their last couple of series, I felt like there were a lot of mistakes, but here, Valak played it really well. There were a couple like walk-in Echo Slams, like that middle lane one, that was insane. That Echo Slam in the top lane, obviously, like boom, the whole entire game was just done from there. Nemphy played it very well. Obviously, Boogie just free farmed his heart out. So I think 4AAC did quite well as a whole, and OKCS set the whole thing up with the draft. So